Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the water footprint as a speed talk for Environment 337 course. My name is Lai, and I'm glad to be here to introduce you the water footprint. So this is our contents. So the first off is about the introduction of footprint, water footprint, and then is the result of our group project, and also the discussion about the results, and then we got a summary part. So talking about the water footprint, let's introduce it first. So water footprint is actually basically the total amount of water that you use during the process of you making the product or you using a kind of services. So the calculation for the water footprint is based on direct water usage plus the indirect water usage, or you can call the virtual water usage. So as the name shows, the direct water usage is the amount of water that you could see, like how many water you use to wash your hands, how many water you use to take a shower. And the indirect water usage of also called virtual water usage is, as the name shows, it's virtual. So you couldn't see it. So for example, in the picture here, a kilogram of beef would actually cost around 10 to 20,000 liters of water usage. So why is it so huge? That's because like during the process of you producing a kilogram of meat of beef, especially, you need to like feed on the cows first. You need to produce the feeding stuff like the cereals, like the grasses. So they all cost a lot of water. And also during the process of transportation from the farm to your table, also need a lot of steps of transportation, which requires a lot of other like virtual indirect water usage. So talk about water footprint, there's also like three categories for them. So the green water footprint is the water footprint from the precipitation that is start in the root zone of the soil, and also will be evaporated, transpired, or incorporated by plants. So it is mainly related to agriculture and forestry water usage. And the blue water footprint is mainly the source from the surface or underground water, and it is either evaporated, incorporated uh, into another product, and also there's some kind of transportation where the water is where the species is actually take from one body of water into another body of water, may at the same or different time, and it is mainly related to agriculture, industrial, and domestic water usage. Yeah, I know the concept is quite complicated, but it is basically like the agriculture water usage. And the gray water footprint, like it is said, is kind of gray, which means um, the amount of fresh water required to assimilate the pollutants. So to meet some specific water quality standards, you need to use different amount of fresh water to clean the products or the pollutants. So the gray water footprint consider the point source pollution discharge to a freshwater resource directly through a pipe or indirectly through runoff or leaching from the soil, just as the graph on the left shows. So why is it so important to know like the water footprint, that we need to learn like from the basis, like why water is important? So we know like over 60% of the earth is covered by water, but only 3% of them could be fresh water. And in that 3%, only around 30% is what human beings could be accessible to drink, to use. And other around 70 to 80% are actually still be frozen in ice cap and glaciers. So that explains why water, especially fresh water, is really precious in nowadays. So the water footprint is a measurement to the humanity's appropriation of fresh water in volumes of water consumed, and also the volumes of water are polluted. It also answers kind of questions like, where is the water dependence in my company or in my countries, like supply chain operations? Also, more importantly, can I do something to reduce the water footprint, like to save the water usage from our daily life to help our people and also nature? So that's what we are focusing on during our group project. So we'll talk about the methodology and result of the group project now. So we actually, across 2 weeks of data collections, we managed to do two variables, and we have like three different groups of samples. The two variables here are mentioned by the fat content and sugar consumption level, and also whether your tap is turning on or off during your brushing teeth time. The data is actually collected through the official website for water footprint organization, and there's actually a tool called personal water footprint calculator, and we use an extended water footprint calculator to get the results. You need to just record like your daily taking of food you eat, and maybe your daily usage of your water, and you can get a result of how many of water you water footprint will you get from each year. So these are our results. When we change about the sugar and fat consumption levels, so the blue bar here is the low level of both sugar and fat consumption, and the orange bar is average level of sugar and fat consumption, while the gray one is the high level of sugar and fat consumption. We can see there's actually still differences, but not that obvious, like around maybe 10 to the 10 to around like smaller than 10 cubic meters per year of the changes. However, for when we look about the the water tap turning on and off, so there's actually we can see a huge difference. No, sorry, not huge, like a relatively big difference between if you turn on or turn off the water tap you use during the process you washing your teeth some stuff. We can see there's around like 16 to 17 round cubic meters of water could be saved each year if you just turn off the water taps during the process you wash your face or brush your teeth. What's more, we are actually focusing on if the resident location are different, will it be different if we got the same habits, like the habits for every day? So we consider about Canada, which is the blue bar, China, the orange bar, and then the United States, shown in gray bar. So we can see like to maintain the same level of your lifestyle and also the daily habits, uh, actually, living in Canada got a highest total water footprint cost per year, and US got a slightly decreasing, and while if you live in China, it will be a large decreasing to see the water footprint. So there might be some astonishing fact during that process. So we actually found like there are actually a 9 times difference for the average reducing of the water footprint. So the first one is when we decide to reduce the cubic meters water usage by just taking down the like consumption level of sugar and fat, there's actually only like around 4.3 like averagely cubic meters per year of saving. And also for the part when we talk about the tap running and running or not, there's actually an average of 37.3 cubic meters per year of saving. So that is to say like sometimes like at least in our case, the usage could be saved, the water usage could be saved actually by reduced direct water usage rather than indirect water usage, because you couldn't see like any water usage during this time, but you could see like the tap is actually wasting your water when you are brushing teeth. So when we talk about the countries comparison, so the country of resident is actually being set as China has the lowest total water footprint, and Canada and the US have similar one, while US is slightly smaller than Canada. Mm, so why is there be happen in the difference between countries, also between the consumption level? So we believe that actually direct water usage can save more than indirect water usage just based on this data. Although the accuracy of the measurement for each variable is varied slightly between objective based on the measurement tools availability. So there's actually a slightly uncertainty on that. And also if you just if you like the two variables we take here, the consumption level of salt and fat, sorry, sugar and fat, and also the if you're turning on your tap or off the tap, is actually some slightly change. So like which you can which everyone can do like in everyday life. So if you change your lifestyle greatly, like from actually a normal person to a vegetarian, like you didn't eat any meat, that make a lot difference. As we mentioned before, like a kilogram of beef would actually cost around 20,000 liter of water usage per year. So so this is just the result based on like if you didn't want to make a lot of change during your lifestyle and also a lot of change in your habits, that is what we get. So and another point is that actually there is something we can do daily to save our to save the water usage. So um uh just as I mentioned before, the change we apply here is quite tiny compared to change your like your food habits or lifestyles. And also similar geological location, just as Canada and US, the the sorry, similar geological location, also the similar development extent will have a similar water footprint. That's really mainly because like in a similar geological location, you will have a similar like environment and a climate for them to like for farmers to grow crops and also for people to live there. So the lifestyle could be similar there. And the different extent of importing and exporting may cause huge difference between countries. That's the case of when you compare with Canada and China. Like Canada got a lot of stuff since it is quite in the north part of the earth. So there's a lot of crops which need to be imported, while China is actually the one of the greatest exporter country. So they actually import less but output more. So the food and the service there is actually mainly domestically transported. So the cost of the water usage during the transportation, like the virtual water of transportation, would be lower level than Canada and the US. Then here's come to our summary. So here is a global water footprint from WWF. So we can see that actually the more developed countries actually got more usage of water footprint, especially for like North America. And some of the European countries got smaller water footprint, maybe because they are using more domestic food and services. And the summary for our group project is mainly like reducing fat and sugar content can actually reduce an average of 4.3 cubic meters of water per year. And while turning off the tap while we brush your teeth can actually decrease way more, around 37.3 cubic meters per year. Then I'd say like smaller change can actually make bigger difference on water footprint based on our result as actually actually changing your daily style of fat and sugar consumption is quite like difficult for me personally. And but while turning off the tap during your brush your teeth or wash your face is quite easy. You just need to turn off your tap during the time you wash and brush. So that's what I mean, like the smaller change can maybe sometimes make a bigger difference than what you think. Resident countries also affect the water footprint level, depend on their development and also the extent of how often do they import or exporting the food and the services they need. The last one is is actually we can work together to reduce water usage, just based on our findings. So you can just search for water footprint calculator. Just got a waterfootprint.org website where you can see like to test your daily oh sorry, your annually water footprint level, and you could see where and what you could reduce to help us, to help human beings in the earth to reduce the water usage. And that's our presentation today. Thank you so much for listening.